How do biomechanics relate to the game of lacrosse? In the game of lacrosse, there are a few basic rules. A stick is used to move the ball through the air. There can only be 12 people on the field at once. There are restraining lines on each side of the field, and whatever position you are playing, you cannot cross that line that is furthest from you, unless you are the midfielder. There are usually attack players, offensive, defenders, defensive, midfielders, offensive and defensive, and a goalie, defensive. The circle that the goalie is in is called the crease, and you are usually not allowed to step in that unless you are defending a player. The game starts in the middle of the field with a draw. The draw decides the direction of the ball. Every time someone scores, everyone returns to their original positions and another draw takes place. In college, games usually have two 25 to 30 minute halves with a 10-minute half time. And the object of the game is to obviously score in your opposing goal.
How does the composition of a lacrosse stick affect the game of lacrosse? There's the head of the stick, the shaft, the mesh, and the shooting strings or runway tracks. The mesh part is usually called the pocket because that is where the ball sits when it is in the stick. Pockets are usually very elastic instead of plastic, especially after a lot of use. Deeper pockets hold the ball easier due to increased surface area. Goalie sticks are usually larger and have a larger surface area to better protect the ball as well.
What are some things that take place during a lacrosse game that relate to biomechanics? The draw. During the draw, two players go to the center of the circle and await the referee's whistle to begin play and go for the ball. Players get very low during the draw, which leads to a lower center of mass, and this is very advantageous. The center of mass is the point around which a body's mass is equally balanced in all directions. You also widen your base of support, which is the area enclosed by the outermost edges of your body in contact with the supporting surface. This makes it less likely for you to lose your balance. The object of the draw is to flick your stick up to get the ball to go in the direction of your favor. In concept of inertia, Newton's first law is present during the draw because the ball doesn't move until the sticks interact with it and push it up with applied pressure.
Running. When running, ground reaction forces are in place due to the fact that your foot contacts the ground after the swing phase, and the ground generates an upward reaction force. When you run, you essentially pound on the ground so the ground reciprocates this continuous force. As a player maneuvers towards the goal, he or she increases his or her kinetic energy. As he or she plants his or her foot into the ground, this energy increases his or her linear momentum. Finally, the player's hips and shoulders quickly spin in the direction of the goal, which transfers the linear momentum into rotational energy. Ground balls. When a ball is on the ground, you must scoop it back up into your stick. This also involves the concept of inertia due to the fact that an object at rest will stay at rest until acted upon by external force. The ball doesn't move on the ground until the stick interacts with it.
Shooting. The speed of a shot is affected by the length of the stick. Long sticks are 6 feet and used by defenders. Short sticks are 4 feet and used by attackers and midfielders. Long sticks shoot faster because the further an object is from its axis of rotation, the faster its linear speed will be. Both sticks have the same angular velocity, but the linear velocity of the long stick is much higher. This is true because the head of the stick is farther.
The farther an object is from its axis of rotation, the faster its linear speed. His arm and a 40-inch long stick act as a series of levers, extending the ball as far as 62 inches from the main axis of rotation. Ravel maximizes speeds at the end of the lever with superior biomechanics.
The only downfall to using a long stick is the fact that it requires more work due to its increased distance. To increase the distance of the ball even more, a player can move their top hand closer to the bottom of the stick, which will lengthen the distance from the head of the stick, thus increasing the velocity of the ball.
Passing and catching. Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This holds true for when you are catching a ball because you must use the same amount of force as it is coming towards you. You give with passes to allow for easier catches, counteracting the equal and opposite reaction from the mesh and preventing the ball from bouncing out. Clearing. Clearing is the term used for the goalie throwing the ball out to his or her team. Like other balls, lacrosse balls follow a projectile trajectory pattern. Angle, speed, and height affect the projectile, but basically the ball moves along a curved path because of gravity. 45 degrees will achieve the maximum distance.
Cradling. Cradling is a technique used to keep the ball in the pocket of the stick while moving it up the field. The stick is kept at a 45-degree angle and the head of the stick is forward from the body. To cradle, you twist your wrist and you flex your forearm back and forth. Vision. The game of lacrosse is a very fast-paced, so you rely a lot on your vision and proprioception. Your vision helps you keep track of your outer environment, which can include the location of the ball and the location of other players on the field. Your proprioception deals with the signals that your body sends your mind that an adjustment needs to be made. For example, if the ball is about to fall out of your stick, you make an adjustment by better cradling the ball and keeping it closer to your body. Towel is also used when you are trying to figure out how long you have and what you're going to do before a player essentially attacks you for the ball. You can choose to run faster and better protect the ball, or you can choose to throw it to another player. If you are not paying attention, a player can check the ball out of your stick by hitting it and gain possession.
For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus.